Hi, happy Friday. This is Shayna from the Trade Exchange. Just want to have a quick weekly recap with what's going on in the markets this week. So let's first talk about where we left off last Friday. So we could have made history this week. If we had made it to 110 days without a 1% decline in the market, we would have beaten the 1945 record. However, on the 109th day, which was this week, there was a little bit over a 1% decline. So 1945, you do still hold that record. Now moving on, let's see where things closed out for the week. So if we take a look here, we have the Dow's closed out 20,596. That's down 1.7% for the week. S&Ps are down 1.65% for the week at 2346. The Nasdaq is down 1.5% at 5828. Gold is actually up 2%. It last traded, I saw, at 1249. And let's take a look at this VIX number. So you see the VIX is at 12.96. The VIX was actually close to 14 today. And if you remember last Friday, it was below 11. That's where it was all of last week, actually. So we were talking about how then there was a lot of complacency in the market, and we did see a slight increase in this VIX number. As I said, it was close to 14 today. The big talk this week, as we all know, has been about this healthcare reform bill. So with this vote and the anticipation of the possible vote coming up, we did see an increase in volatility this week. That has since come down just a little bit. The vote's been pulled, as we all know at this point. And the VIX did drop. It was in the high 13s when they made that announcement. It has come down. It is at 12.96. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on this VIX number and see what happens going into next week. And another thing we told you to keep your eye on, the 10-year yield. So if you take a look here, the 10-year yield, it continued to decrease. We were at 2.49. It decreased this week to 2.4%. So what does that tell us? Well, we had a lot of the Fed speaks this week, and as the commentary has told us, it's continuing to be in a dovish tone. And you see that the yield is continuing on the 10-year to decrease. We do have some Fed speaks coming up next week. We'll show you the calendar. So you can see there's more Fed speaks coming up next week. We're going to keep an eye on them. We're going to watch these. We're going to see if this dovish tone continues. But we do enjoy watching these. It really does help get an idea of what their thoughts are on monetary and the economic policy. So this is going to be very interesting to watch. Moving on, we're talking about crude oil. So crude oil, we told you, keep an eye on that $50 level. That's where firms were telling us this is the area to really keep an eye on and see if it breaks up. Because if it doesn't break that $50 level, they said, we're probably going to see a decrease. And in fact, we did. Oil has decreased 2.2% this week. It's now trading, you can see here, about $48 a barrel. There was a bigger build in crude oil in the EIA statistics report. And again, we've seen this decrease. Last but not least, I want to talk about with you something that's been a bit fun for us this week because we had a couple videos on it, and it's regarding Micron. So we first did a video because we were pointing out about an April 22 call option. There were 4,000 were trading at 425 at the time. And they had earnings coming out a few days later, which was this past Wednesday on March 23rd. Well, let's talk about that call option real quick because that call was originally being traded at 4.25. It now traded this morning at $8. That was up 88%. Micron had their earnings come out on March 23rd, and you can see at the opening where this spike right here when it came out. Micron more than beat the forecasted revenue. So they had a 2.65 billion in revenue versus the expected 2.64 billion. So that is what caused obviously this jump in the call option, which is up, as last up this morning, 88%. So that's phenomenal. I just had to touch on that real quick because that's pretty exciting. I appreciate you watching. We're going to keep an eye on things as we're going into next week. We're going to watch these Fed speaks going on. We're going to keep an eye on that VIX number. Let's see if volatility starts to pick up. Again, my name is Shayna. I hope you have a very wonderful weekend, and I look forward to catching up with you in the markets next week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.